In the crushing darkness of the deep sea, where life seems impossible, a creature straight out of science fiction thrives. The giant isopod, a monstrous crustacean that can grow to the size of a house cat, scuttles across the ocean floor, defying our expectations of what life can be. These armored behemoths are not just curiosities. They're living proof of incredible adaptability of life and a window into one of the least understood ecosystems on our planet. To truly appreciate the giant isopod, we must first understand its intricate anatomy. These creatures are marvels of evolutionary engineering, perfectly adapted to withstand the immense pressures and scarce resources of their deep-sea home. The most striking feature of a giant isopod is its robust exoskeleton. This calcareous armor is composed of overlapping segments, providing protection against predators and the crushing forces of the deep. The exoskeleton is typically a pale lilac or pinkish color, which may seem odd for a creature living in perpetual darkness. However, this coloration becomes virtually invisible in the deep sea, where red light doesn't penetrate. The body of a giant isopod is divided into three main sections: the cephalon, which is the head, the thorax, and pleon, which is the abdomen. The first segment of the exoskeleton is fused to the head, while the posterior segments often form a caudal shield over the shortened abdomen. This segmented design allows the isopod to curl into a ball when threatened, presenting only its tough outer shell to potential predators, a defensive strategy reminiscent of its terrestrial cousins. One might assume that creatures living in the perpetual night of the deep sea would have little use for eyes. Yet, giant isopods possess large compound eyes with nearly 4,000 facets each. These eyes are fixed in place and spaced far apart on the head, providing an excellent field of view. But how do these eyes function in an environment devoid of sunlight? The secret lies in their highly reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum, similar to what causes eye shine in cats. This layer amplifies even the faintest bioluminescent signals from other deep-sea creatures, allowing the isopod to detect movement and potential food sources in the darkness. In addition to their impressive visual system, giant isopods are equipped with 7 pairs of legs, which they use for walking along the seafloor and occasionally swimming. The first pair of these legs is modified into maxillopedes, specialized appendages that help manipulate food and bring it to the isopod's 4 sets of jaws. 2 pairs of antennae serve as sensory organs, helping the isopod navigate its environment and detect chemical signals from potential food sources. The longer pair, known as antennae, and the shorter pair, called antennules, work together to give the isopod a comprehensive understanding of its surroundings. The abdomen houses 5 pairs of pleopods, leaf-like structures that serve dual purposes. They act as swimming appendages when needed, but their primary function is respiration. These 2-branch pleopods are flattened into gill-like structures, allowing the isopod to extract oxygen from the water efficiently.
Hey explorers, ready to dive deeper into the unknown? We've got exclusive insights waiting for you. Subscribe to our newsletter now, link in the description. Stay ahead of the tide and never miss a discovery. Now, enjoy the rest of the video.
The genus Bathynomus comprises nearly 20 known species, each with its own unique characteristics and distribution. These species are broadly categorized into 2 groups, the giants and the supergiants. Let's explore some of the most notable members of this fascinating genus. Bathynomus giganteus. Bathynomus giganteus is perhaps the most famous of all giant isopods and the species that gave the genus its fearsome reputation. Discovered in 1879 by French zoologist Alphonse Milne Edwards, B. giganteus was the first of its kind to be described scientifically, setting the stage for future deep-sea explorations. This species can grow to impressive sizes, with typical adults measuring between 19 and 36 centimeters or 7.5 to 14.2 inches in length. However, there are unconfirmed reports of individuals reaching up to 76 centimeters or 30 inches, though the largest scientifically confirmed specimen was about 50 centimeters or 20 inches long. B. giganteus is primarily found in the western Atlantic Ocean, from Georgia in the United States to Brazil, including the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean. They inhabit depths ranging from 170 to 2,140 meters, or 560 to 7,000 feet, where they scavenge on the seafloor for dead marine life and other organic matter. Behemoths kensley. Another impressive species found in the Atlantic Ocean is Behemoths kensley. This species holds the depth record for giant isopods, having been found at an astonishing 2,500 meters, 8,200 feet below the surface. However, B. kensley is quite versatile, also occurring in shallower waters, as shallow as 300 meters or 1,000 feet. While not quite as large as B. giganteus, B. kensley still reaches impressive sizes, with adults typically growing to about 30 centimeters or 12 inches in length. This species is primarily found in the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Sea, often inhabiting the same regions as its larger cousin. Behemoths miare. Venturing into the Pacific Ocean, we encounter Behemoths miare, a relatively smaller species of giant isopod. Despite being considered one of the giant species, B. miare typically only grows to about 15 centimeters or 6 inches in length, making it a dwarf compared to its Atlantic relatives. What B. miare lacks in size, it makes up for in its ability to thrive in shallower waters. This species has been found at depths as shallow as 22 meters or 72 feet, though it can also inhabit deeper waters up to 280 meters or 919 feet. B. miare is primarily found in the Western Pacific, particularly in the waters around Japan and Taiwan. Behemoths deuterlini. Behemoths deuterlini is another Pacific species, notable for its varying coloration. Unlike the typical pale lilac or pink of other giant isopods, B. deuterlini can range from brown to reddish purple, adding a splash of color to the deep-sea palette. This species is found at depths between 100 and 700 meters, making it one of the more accessible giant isopod species for scientific study. B. deuterlini has been the subject of several behavioral and physiological studies, providing valuable insights into the life of these deep-sea giants. Just when we thought we knew all the giant isopod species, nature surprises us with a new discovery: Behemoths jamesii. In 2020, a new species of giant isopod was described, Behemoths jamesii. This discovery in the Bandera Bank of the South China Sea highlights how much we still have to learn about the deep ocean and its inhabitants. B. jamesii is considered one of the supergiant species, reaching lengths of up to 26 centimeters or 10 inches. With an understanding of the diverse Behemoths species, we can now explore how these fascinating creatures have adapted to life in the extreme environment of the deep sea. The deep sea is an environment like no other on Earth. Perpetual darkness, near-freezing temperatures, and crushing pressures create a habitat that requires unique adaptations for survival. Giant isopods have evolved a suite of fascinating behaviors and ecological strategies to thrive in this extreme environment. Giant isopods are primarily scavengers, playing a crucial role in the deep-sea ecosystem by recycling nutrients from dead organisms. Their powerful mandibles and robust digestive system allow them to consume a wide variety of organic matter, from the soft tissues of dead fish and squid to the tough hides of whale carcasses. While they are opportunistic feeders, giant isopods show a preference for fish when available. A study examining the stomach contents of over 1,600 Bathynomus gigantea specimens found that fish were the most common food item, followed by cephalopods and crustaceans. Interestingly, giant isopods are not above attacking live prey when the opportunity arises. There have been reports of these creatures latching onto and consuming slow-moving animals like sea cucumbers and sponges. In one remarkable instance, a giant isopod was filmed attacking a dogfish shark in a deep-water trap, latching onto its face and consuming it alive. This opportunistic feeding strategy is crucial in an environment where food is scarce, but giant isopods have developed even more remarkable adaptations to cope with the feast or famine nature of the deep sea. In the deep sea, where nutrients are scarce and food falls are unpredictable, this ability is crucial for survival. Giant isopods have been known to survive for over 5 years without eating in captivity, a testament to their efficient metabolism and energy conservation strategies. When food is abundant, however, giant isopods make the most of it. They are capable of gorging themselves to the point where they can barely move, storing energy for the lean times ahead. This feast or famine lifestyle is a common adaptation among deep-sea creatures, allowing them to take full advantage of rare nutritional windfalls. While their feeding habits are fascinating, the way giant isopods move and behave in their dark, pressurized environment is equally intriguing. Given their large size and the energy-poor environment they inhabit, giant isopods are generally slow-moving creatures. They spend most of their time crawling along the seafloor, using their 7 pairs of legs to navigate the muddy or clay substrate they prefer. However, giant isopods are capable of more active movement when necessary. Their pleopods can be used for swimming, allowing them to move through the water column in search of food or to escape predators. This swimming ability, combined with their ability to curl into a protective ball, gives giant isopods a range of options for dealing with threats in their environment. Despite their solitary nature, giant isopods must come together to reproduce. The reproductive cycle of these creatures is still not fully understood, but studies suggest that breeding may peak during spring and winter, possibly due to seasonal variations in food availability. Female giant isopods develop a brood pouch, or marsupium, when sexually active. This pouch is formed by overlapping plates called oostogytes, which grow from the base of the legs. After mating, the female carries her eggs in this protective pouch until they hatch. Unlike many marine creatures, giant isopods do not have a larval stage. Instead, the young emerge from the marsupium as miniature versions of the adults, called manchae. These juvenile isopods are fully developed except for their last pair of legs, which grow in later molts. This reproductive strategy, known as direct development, is an adaptation to the deep-sea environment. By skipping the vulnerable larval stage, giant isopods ensure that their offspring are better equipped to survive in the harsh conditions of the deep from the moment they leave the marsupium. As fascinating as giant isopods are, there is still much we don't know about these deep-sea creatures. Ongoing research continues to shed light on their biology, behavior, and ecological role, while also raising new questions about these enigmatic creatures. In the end, giant isopods are more than just curiosities of the deep. They are important members of a complex and fragile ecosystem, key players in the cycling of nutrients in the ocean's depths, and living proof of the incredible diversity of life on our blue planet. As we continue to unravel their mysteries, we can only imagine what other wonders await discovery in the vast, dark realm they call home. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel